Hi everyone, this is Kamal Mahako, and I'd like to welcome you to the Amma Manson Network. Now, this program is a program where we are going to dive into the Jamaican language, Patois. So, I'm going to be teaching you how to speak Patois, but where the main focus is on Jamaican proverbs, as we would call them, wise sayings from the old timers. Right now, every culture has their own batch of wise sayings, wisdom from the elders, the things that our folk have gathered over the years and decades and centuries that have trickled down and have been we have gathered all of the lessons, and put them into nice bite-sized pieces that we tell each other and we tell our children, and we hand down these wise sayings to help guide us along the way. So in this program, we're going to look at Proverbs. Each week, I'm going to be featuring four Jamaican wise sayings, and we're going to see how we can apply them to everyday life. Because that's the whole point of it. Um, Having these sayings, they help to guide us and they help to prevent us from making mistakes that our ancestors have made and they have learned from it. One of my greatest tenets in life is to learn from other people's mistakes. The fact that you don't have to make the mistake in order to learn from it. You can see what others have done, see what others are doing, and you can avoid doing certain things, or you can also ensure that you do certain things so as to avoid a lot of pain, a lot of regret, a lot of grief, right? So I always say I will forever sit at the feet of wisdom. She's going to have to chase me away because I want to be wise. I want to be smart. I want to do the best with the least effort. And so if I can learn from you, I definitely will. Wherever the wisdom is, there I shall be. All right, so each week we're going to focus on four Jamaican wise sayings. We're going to look at the literal meaning because these sayings all come from an actual literal situation. And then we're going to look at the figurative, the underlying, the lesson for life, meaning beneath it all, right? Of course, many of these sayings are humorous. There's always that wit that is characteristic of our people. And so, yeah, it's loaded with humor, but there are some serious lessons. So the first wise saying that I'm going to start with today is in Jamaica, we say, catch me a catch. I just catch me a catch. Nobody fast with me, nobody show off for me to you know, say me a catch. All right, what do we mean by that? A catch me a catch. Well, sometimes when you're sitting somewhere and you want someone, or someone is sitting somewhere and you want them to make a little room for you, right? You want a little space on the chair or on the couch or the bed or wherever, and you say, move over a little bit, make me catch, right? Or shift over a little bit, small up yourself, on the catch side of you. So what you're really saying is provide some space for me beside you, right? Provide a little space for me so that I can come beside you. No, so when we say a catch me a catch, it's usually indicates a temporary state of affairs, right? So when you catch, it's not something you plan to do for the long haul. It's a temporary situation, and usually in this temporary situation, you understand that you're going to have to submit to others because they have the upper hand in that situation, right? So, but at the same time, it is usually done with an attitude of you, the person who catching, you still have that attitude of listen, I am still worthy of respect. I am still a sovereign being, even though I might be in this temporary situation where I might not be able to afford XYZ, or I might not be able to find a better way for myself, but I don't want you to mistreat me because of that, right? So, what are the situations in which people might find themselves where they have to be saying, "I catch me, I catch," or "me just abide me time," right? Or "me have to bite my tongue. Me can't say everything I want to say. I can't let you know exactly how I feel, or I can't do the things that I would normally do if I was in my place." Because when you're catching, you actually know that you're not home. You know that you're not on your turf. You're in somebody else's territory. You're taking up a temporary space in somebody else's territory. So you kind of know that your rights, you don't have your full rights, right? So, like, for example, in Jamaica, and I know elsewhere too, but our focus is Jamaica. You might have someone, or it might even be that person and their family, their kids, are temporarily displaced. Maybe a fire occurs and the house burned down, and you have to be catching with relatives or even friends, right? Or maybe it could be a woman who is fleeing from abuse at the hands of her husband or her boyfriend, and she might have her kids with her, or she might just be alone, and she needs some temporary shelter. And she might have to go, in fleeing this abuse, she might have to go sleep on the couch, or catching on somebody's bed, or maybe even on the floor, right? That might be a situation that warrants you to have to catch with somebody. Or let's say you you go abroad, because we have many persons from Jamaica go to the United States. They might go to England, Canada, the usual places they migrate to, whether it's a more temporary migration or even a permanent migration. But because mark you, when Jamaicans go abroad, even when they settle there and they have lived for decades, in their heart, they know they are Jamaican, and many of them, when they get into their old age, they come back as returning residents to Jamaica to set up their homes and to retire, right? So no matter how many donkey years they spend in these cold alien places, they still know that they are Jamaicans. They might be legal aliens, they might get their citizenship, their green card, whatever it is, but in their heart of hearts, they are still Jamaican, and in their minds, they are still catching in other people's country, and they know that they will be seen as second-class citizens even when they get their full-fledged papers, their legal documents. They know in their heart of hearts they are not seen as first-class citizens in these countries, and they know where they are first-class citizens in the country that they were born. So in their mind, them still a catch. Them they are foreign, but them a catch in a people country, right? Just like even when they're in Jamaica here, and they're not in their house, and they might have to be parceling the children. This one have to stay with that auntie, that the cousin, that their friend. So you and your kids have to catching up people else. You can't be as comfortable as you would like. You can't complain about certain things because you don't have as much say as the rightful residents, right? in that place. So we also was saying you have to bite your tongue. You have to bite your tongue. Some the way you would react in your home, some things you would lash out against, you have to just bide your time and bite your tongue because you're just a catch, right? But let me tell you, the Jamaican attitude, we have a fire in us, you see, where even if we just a catch, we're not gonna make you pass the place with we. We're not going to allow other people to take liberty away, as we said, for show off one way and put we down and pass them place, right? Even though they have the upper hand. So we will still insist on being treated with respect, right? So if you are in this position where you have a Jamaican in your house, a catch, because they fall on bad time, hard times, situation not going for them the right way right now, don't feel that give you the right to disrespect them because a Jamaican will not tolerate it. We will be in your house catching and we will still tell you what is what. We will be in your house catching or we will be in your country catching, and we might tolerate certain things to a point, but if you push it, we're going to put you in a place and we're going to tell you what is what, even though we're just a catch, right? So this is something you have to understand about Jamaicans. So when we come to your place or we come to your country, we still expect you to treat us with respect, and we're not going to give up our rights. We're still going to insist to be treated. So that's our first wise saying, a catch me a catch, but that no mean say if you pass a place with me, that no mean say you feel take liberty with me, that no mean say you feel show off for me, and that no mean say if you treat me like me and a smarty pitney too, right? Treat me as if I'm someone's child, just as you are. All right, so that's our first Jamaican saying, a catch me a catch. The second saying that we have is from the devil was a boy. And there are different variations of this. We could use anything that indicates that something happened a long time ago. As we know, the devil is now a very old, very, very old man. So, if something happened from the devil was a boy, that means to say it happened a long time ago. Another version of this is from God make Adam. Now, those of us who are familiar with the Christian religion and the biblical stories, you also know that Adam was made or created by the Christian God a mighty long time ago. So if something happened from God make Adam, that means to say it happened long, long time. Another variation of this, and there are many, many variations, right? Another variation of this is from me idea my knee, from me idea my knee, or from Wappy Kill Philip. That's another popular one. From Wappy Kill Philip. No, I do not know, and I suspect no one alive knows who was Wappy and who was Philip. But if something happened from Wappy Kill Philip, that means it happened long, long, long time. If it happened from your eye there, your knee, that means to say, you see where your knee is now, and you see where your eyes are now. So imagine when your eyes were at the level of your knees. That means a whole heap of years ago, from your pitney, from your little boy, you run up and down. right? From a little girl I run up and down. So we use these sayings just to indicate how long it has been, to emphasize, right? So just as with most things, when we um, want to blow things out of proportion just to make a point, just to emphasize how long something has been, we grab for things that we know occurred a mighty long time ago, just to emphasize it. So the devil is a full-grown man now with beard, gray beard, right? So if it happened from the devil was a boy, so we might say something like, "Boy, me I walk from the devil was a boy," or "Me I walk from me I am knee." That means to say you have been employed at work, whether paid work or just manual labor, from you were a child, from you were a wee tot. You have been actively employed. Or you say, "The man there drink rum from the devil was a boy," or "that the man there drink rum from me I am me." That means that grown man from you know yourself. That's another one. That's another one that we use to give the sense of how much time. From me know myself. No, you have known yourself from you were taught, right? You have been conscious that you are a person. So from me know myself, that them under there a rum bar a drink rum, right? Or long she tell me say she go bring something for me, or you promise to do this for me from Wapi Kill Philip. No, Wapi Kill Philip, and Philip goes roam the earth how much time till it reincarnate into somebody else. So if you made this promise from Wapi Kill Philip, that means it's full time now you deliver on that promise, right? Full time now you deliver on that promise. So this particular proverb has so many variations. Once you can find something that happened a long time ago, and find the most exaggerated example of it, you can throw it in, right? And say, "Boy, this happened from whatever, 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 whatever. From the devil was a boy, from God make Adam, from me idea me knee, from Wapi kill Philip, from whatever, whatever, whatever." All right. So let's go to our third example of Jamaican proverbs, Jamaican wise sayings. And this one says, "Snake bite you, you see stick, you run." Let me say that again. Snake bite you, you see stick, you run. So literally this means if a snake has bitten you and you see a stick in the bush, you run, because you think it's another snake and you don't want to repeat that. You don't want to go through that terror, that trauma of being bitten, right? So this is a very common one because it's practical. We learn from our mistakes, and we we tend to be more guarded, more timid in response to things based on our experiences as in the past, especially if these experiences have been negative. If these experiences have been negative, we tend to sometimes we might even completely shut off, completely go into a shell because of these bad experiences. And really, we should not do that because it's going to limit our future experiences. We should learn from our past, and yes, we should be guarded and guided by our past. we should be more discerning. We should be more careful about who we let in. There's I remember reading somewhere or hearing, I can't tell you who this quote comes from, but it says, the first time a woman loves, she loves the man, and every time after that, all she loves is love itself. Let me say that again. The first time that a woman loves, she loves the man. And that's the only time she really loves the man. That's the only time she really loves. And all other times she loves love itself. What that is saying is that because, and I think this doesn't necessarily go for women, but it's just that women tend to be more emotional and more passionate. But it extends to everyone. When we encounter love for the first time, usually we are so innocent, and so we have so much life force. We have not been hurt as yet. Usually we have not been deceived, we have not been burnt by the fire yet, so we tend to put our all into it. We believe, most of us, some are guarded from birth, but most of us, we invest all that we have. We believe every word. We hang on every word. And then because we put so much, and if it happens that that is a negative first experience, then all the subsequent ones tend to get less of you as you go along, less and less and less, in terms of that passion and that innocence and that all encompassing commitment and devotion. So, yes, the first cut is the deepest. That's another one that we have, right? So, you see a snake, you're out in the bush, you see a snake. You don't know what snakes do, or even if you have heard that snakes will bite or snakes will strangle, you hear it, but you don't really know what it means to be bitten. And if it happens that you are bitten, you if you survive, if you survive that bite, then all your actions after that, if you are wise, or if you want to stay around, all your actions after that will be geared towards avoiding being bitten again. But it just so happens that, in life, people are different, and not every person who you encounter will hurt. Not every person who you encounter will deceive. Not every person you encounter in love will give you a negative experience, but it's just that you have been so damaged. You may be so damaged that you will not even open up to receive another kind of experience. And so this might cause us to have negative stereotypes about people, right? We may make statements like, all men are bad, all men are liars, all women are gold diggers, all salespeople are con artists, all 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 beggars are actors. They can do better. They're just beg. We tend to make these canvas statements, and we stereotype, and we make judgments based on our experience, which is a natural thing because we want to protect ourselves. But it just happens that in doing so, you might also be depriving yourself of a good experience. right? It might just be a stick in the bush, and that stick might be able to hold you up, to propel you, to help you to climb that hill. It might be a stick that comes in useful to even help you beat off some snakes, right? So the lesson from this is that we need to learn from the past, especially the negative experiences. We need to learn from them, but at the same time, we can't use that to shut ourselves off from experiences in general. We are to learn, but we are to still be open, guarded but open, not guarded and closed, right? So even if you have a negative experience and you're going to learn from that, still don't not judge others, especially when we just meet them. Give them enough time to prove themselves, give them enough time to be innocent until they do things that prove to us that they are not worthy of our trust, they are not worthy of our time, they are not worthy of our company, right? Each person that we encounter, they deserve at least that initial phase before we shut them out, right? The last Jamaican saying that we're going to look at is thief no like see thief with long back. Thief no like see thief with long back. And that literally means a thief does not like to see another thief with a long bag. So what does a long bag represent? The long bag would represent the loot, right? The goodies that have been stolen, the benefits that have been reaped from the theft. All right, so thief no likes to thief with long bag. So this means people will often, well, not everyone, but there are persons who will criticize others for doing things that they themselves will turn around and do, or that they themselves are actively doing undercover, right? And this this stretches across so many areas. For example, one of the most, or some of the most verbally abusive men, verbally abusive towards homosexuality, are men who are on the down low, who are undercover homosexuals. They will be the most blatantly aggressive, put down no tolerance towards homosexuals, and undercover they are homosexuals, right? Some of the persons who are most critical of others who are promiscuous, others who lie, others who steal, who defraud, some of the most outspoken ones, they themselves are engaged. It's just that they have not been caught, right? They are outspoken towards the ones who have been caught, but they themselves, the only reason they are not in prison, the only reason they are not going through the humiliation, the public scorn, is because they have not been caught. And they are some of the loudest voices. So when you hear that, okay, such and such a person has been nabbed for defrauding $20 million, and you hear them come out, boy, man, ray, blah, 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 ray. They themselves might be doing it, right? Or you will, they will put, or they would want you to put things in place to stop others from benefiting from the wrongdoing, so that they themselves can get the leeway to engage in the wrongdoing. So it's like you don't want another thief to prosper. Only you want thief and prosper. You don't want other thief to prosper. You don't want nobody else who are do the wrong thing to prosper. Only you. And that is a kind of hypocrisy, of course. Um, it reeks. It reeks of hypocrisy. It reeks of double standards. What you want for you, you don't want for other persons. So these are this is wisdom. This is ancient folk knowledge that has trickled down through the years, through the centuries. And people, what I love about cultures, what I love about folk is our ability harness to harness all of this wisdom from our collective experience, to harness it in a way that we can even laugh at it while we're learning from it. This is something that is universal. It's part of the human nature. It's part of the human condition. Every civilization, every nation, every village, even every clan has a set of wise sayings. Your grandma, when you're growing up, there are things that your grandma always said, or grandpa always said, or even your mom always saying. And sometimes it takes you a while before you realize, oh, that's what she meant. That's what he meant. That's why he was telling me this, right? And these are things that are put in place for us to learn. And those who are wise will learn. As they say, a word to the wise will suffice. One word to the wise is enough to help them to avoid getting trapped, to avoid going down the wrong way. So I will forever sit at the feet of wisdom, and I have a collection of dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of Jamaican wise sayings, and I will be sharing them with you as we go along. I will be trying my best to explain them, at least in the way that I interpret them, and I'd encourage you to let me know how you interpret them. Also, I want you to let me know what are the wise sayings that stood out to you as you were coming up. What did grandma always say? What did granddad always say? What did mom always say? When you're coming up, and there are just some things that you didn't even know what they meant then, some of them, and now you understand. Share those with me, and I will continue to share with you. So next time, I will share 4 more of our Jamaican wise sayings.